The world thinks it knows Easter Island, a place of mystery, of stone giants staring into oblivion, of collapse, of warning. But what if everything we've been told is only half the story? What if the silence of those stone faces is not emptiness, but patience? What if this island, the most isolated inhabited land on Earth, is not a tale of ending, but of survival? This is not the Easter Island of textbooks. This is Rapa Nui, the navel of the world. The island that listens 3,700 kilometers from the nearest continent. A triangle of volcanic stone thrown into the Pacific like a prayer into the void. Here, the ocean does not end. It breathes, the wind does not blow, it speaks, and the stones remember, Rapa Nui, Tepito o Tehenua, the navel of the world. A name that does not boast, a name that knows. Some say the island was born from the gods, that the volcano goddess Pele stopped here on her journey east, leaving fire and stone as her children. Others say it was the great navigator Hotumatua who found this place in a dream, sailed across impossible distances, and landed on a shore that smelled of earth and destiny. The Polynesians who arrived here, perhaps in the 8th century, perhaps the 12th, the exact moment lost to time and tide, they did not conquer this land. They conversed with it. They carved the volcanic tuff with stone tools. They raised ancestors from the quarry. They gave the statues eyes, inlaid coral and obsidian, so the Moai could watch over the living, channeling the mana of the dead. And for centuries, this island was not isolated, it was whole. But the story the world tells is one of catastrophe, of deforestation, of societal collapse, of tribes at war, toppling each other's gods. And yes, those things happened, but they are not the only things. Because here, on this island where the palm trees disappeared and the giant statues fell, life continued, culture endured. The Rapa Nui people are still here. This is their story, not as a warning, but as a testament. There is a place on Rapa Nui where time stopped mid-breath, where nearly 400 stone giants lie frozen in the act of being born. Raraku, the quarry. Imagine this. You are a master carver. Your grandfather was a carver. His grandfather before him. Your people have been raising ancestors from this stone for generations. You know the angle of the chisel, the sound the stone makes when it is ready to release. You know the prayers. And then, one day, you stop. Some say it was war. Some say resources collapsed. Some say the belief system is fractured. But what remains is not chaos. The order is interrupted. The Moai at Raraku are not scattered. They are positioned. Some stand upright, half buried, their heads tilting as if listening to something beneath the earth. Others lie horizontally, their backs still fused to the volcano. The largest, Te Tokanga, measures 21 meters, 70 tons of stone, never separated from its mother rock. For centuries, visitors believed these were failures, abandoned projects. But the Rapa Nui elders say otherwise. They say these Moai were never meant to leave. They are the guardians of the quarry itself. The ancestors who remain to protect the place where all ancestors are born. Inside Raraku's crater is a freshwater lake, one of only 3 on the island. Totora reeds grow here, brought by the first Polynesians, the same reeds used to build boats that crossed oceans. This is not just a quarry, it is a womb, stone, water, life. And every Moai that was ever raised, every ancestor that ever stood on an Ahu platform watching over a clan, began here. In the belly of the volcano, in the hands of the carvers, in the belief that stone could hold spirit. Ihatutongariki, the altar of 15 gods. There is a moment just before dawn when the world holds its breath. The ocean is black glass, the wind pauses, and 15 stone giants face the rising sun. This is not architecture, this is declaration. An Ahu is a sacred platform, a place where the living honor the dead, where chiefs and ancestors are transformed into stone, then raised upright to watch over their descendants. The Moai do not face the ocean. They face inland, toward the villages, toward the people. They are not gods. They are protectors, embodiments of mana, spiritual power, channeling the strength of those who came before into the lives of those who remain. Point. Ahu Tongariki was once the most powerful ceremonial site on the island. 15 Moai, the largest weighing 86 tons. But in 1960, a tsunami, triggered by an earthquake in Chile, swept across the Pacific. The wave hit Rapa Nui with such force that it lifted the Moai from their platform and scattered them like toys. Some were thrown 300 meters inland. For 30 years, they lay in pieces. Point. The world looked at the fallen giants and saw only ruin. But the Rapa Nui saw something else. They saw unfinished business. In 1992, a Japanese crane company funded the restoration. Archaeologists, engineers, and Rapa Nui workers spent 5 years reconstructing the Ahu stone by stone. The Moai were raised again. Not as a tourist attraction, as an act of resurrection. Today, when the sun rises behind Ahu Tongariki, the 15 ancestors glow like embers. Their red stone pukao top knots, some weighing 12 tons, crown their heads like fire. And for a moment, you understand. This was never about stone. It was about presence, about making the invisible visible, about saying to the wind, to the ocean, to the vastness of the Pacific, "We are here, we remain." Orongo, the village at the edge of the world. At the southwestern edge of Rapa Nui, the land ends abruptly. A volcanic crater plunges 300 meters. The ocean roars against cliffs, and between them, barely clinging to the ridge, is a village made of stone and wind. Orongo. These are not homes for daily life. These are ceremony houses. Once a year, when the southern spring arrived, the chiefs and priests of Rapa Nui would gather here. They came for the Tangata Manu, the birdman competition. Point. Out there, on those jagged islets, the sooty tern, Manutara, would arrive to lay its eggs. The first egg of the season was sacred. Each clan would choose a champion. At dawn, the competitors would descend the cliffs, 300 meters of sheer rock, swim through shark-infested waters, reach the islets, and wait. Days, sometimes weeks. The first to return with an intact egg would declare his chief, the Tangata Manu, the Birdman, for that year. The winning chief would gain control of resources, his clan would prosper, his mana would be unquestionable. But this was not just a competition. It was a transformation of power. When the Moai building era ended, when the Ahu platforms were abandoned and the statues toppled, the Birdman cult emerged. It was a new way to channel the sacred, no longer through stone ancestors, but through living ritual, through risk, through the merging of human and bird, earth and sky. Some say it was a response to ecological collapse. Others say it was a spiritual evolution. But what is certain is this. The Rapa Nui did not disappear when their world changed. They adapted. Inside these stone houses, the priests would sleep. They would dream. They would wait for the sign. And when the first egg was claimed, when the swimmer climbed back up the cliffs with the prize held carefully between his teeth, the island would exhale. Ranokau, the crater that holds the sky. There are places on Earth where the gods paused to rest, where creation took a breath. Ranokau is one of them. The crater measures 1.6 kilometers across. Its walls drop steeply, 200 meters, into a world unto itself. A lake, not deep, but sacred. The water here was life. In a land with almost no rivers, no springs, the craters were everything. Ranokau, Rano Raraku, Rano Aroi, the three wells of Rapa Nui. The Polynesians who first arrived brought the totora reed with them, deliberately, carefully, knowing they would need it. For boats, for baskets, for floating gardens. The reeds spread across the shallow water, creating mats that shift and drift, small islands that move with the wind. Point. From the crater's rim, you can see the entire southern coast, the ocean, endless, blue-black, stitched with white. The cliffs, sharp, unforgiving. This is where the island thinks. The volcano that formed Rano Kau erupted roughly 150,000 years ago. It collapsed inward, creating this bowl. And in doing so, it held water. It held life. The Rapa Nui understood this. They built Orongo on its rim not by accident, but by intention. The Birdman ritual was not just about eggs and power. It was about the intersection between earth and sky, between volcano and ocean, between what is solid and what is sacred. Even now, the wind here behaves strangely. It swirls, it rises, as if the crater itself is breathing. Some say that when you stand on the edge of Rano Kau, you can feel the island's heartbeat. Huakivi, the seven who watch the ocean. There is one Ahu on Rapa Nui that breaks the rule. Every other Moai on the island faces inward, toward the people, toward the villages. But these seven face the ocean, Ahuakivi. Legend says these seven represent the explorers sent by King Hotu Matua to find the island. They sailed from the west, perhaps from the Marquesas, perhaps from the Gambias, following stars and currents and the flight of birds. When they found Rapa Nui, they returned to bring their people, and when the island was settled, these seven were carved in their honor. They face the direction they came from. They watch the horizon, not as guardians of the land, but as greeters. On the equinoxes, spring and autumn, the sun sets directly behind Ahuakivi. The seven Moai are silhouetted perfectly. Their shadows stretch long across the grass. Some say it was astronomical knowledge, others say it was intuition. But the alignment is exact. Ahuakivi was one of the first Ahu to be restored. In 1960, archaeologists William Molloy and Gonzalo Figueroa led the effort, working alongside Rapa Nui laborers to raise the seven Moai. It was a test. Could the Moai be restored without modern cranes, using only the methods the ancient Rapa Nui might have used? The answer was yes. They used wooden sledges, ropes, leverage, and they raised the ancestors. Today, Ahuakivi stands in the island's interior. Not on the coast, but inland, on a grassy plateau. The 7 Moai are identical in height. In proportion. They do not wear pukao top knots. They are simpler, older, but they are no less sacred. Because they remember. They remember the journey, the crossing, the moment when the horizon finally broke and land appeared. Anakaitangata, the cave of the man-eaters. There are places where history and myth blur, where the name alone carries weight. Anakaitangata, the cave where men are eaten. Rapa Nui has many caves, volcanic tubes carved by ancient lava flows, tunnels that run beneath the island like veins. Some were used for shelter, some for burial, some for secret rituals. Point. Anakaitangata is small, its ceiling is low, the floor is sand and stone, smoothed by centuries of salt air and spray. But on the ceiling, painted in ochre and white, are birdmen. These are not moai. These are not carvings. These are visions. The name, Cave Where Men Are Eaten, has fueled speculation for generations. Was there cannibalism on Rapa Nui? Some early European accounts claimed yes. But archaeological evidence is thin. What is more likely is that the name refers to metaphor, to the idea that this cave, used during the birdman ceremonies, was a place of transformation, where men became something else, where human identity was consumed by the sacred. The birdman figures are poised in flight. Some hold eggs, others stretch their wings wide. They are neither fully human nor fully bird. This is the essence of the Tangata Manu, not domination, but becoming. The Rapa Nui did not separate the human from the natural. They saw continuity. The sooty tern that flew thousands of kilometers to lay a single egg on a barren rock, and the man who risked his life to retrieve it, were part of the same cycle. Anakaitangata faces the ocean. When the tide is high, the waves reach the cave's mouth. Salt spray fills the air. The paintings are fading. Each year, a little more color is lost to the salt and the wind, but the cave remembers. And the birdmen still fly. Anakena Beach, The landing of kings. There is one place on Rapa Nui that feels like a rival. The only white sand beach on the island, the only place where the land softens into the sea. Legend says this is where King Hotu Matua first landed, where the great Polynesian navigator stepped off his double-hulled canoe and declared, "This is home. Point." The beach curves like a smile. The water is impossibly clear. Shades of turquoise and sapphire that seem borrowed from another ocean entirely. Coconut palms grow here, their fronds rattling in the breeze. But palms are not native to Rapa Nui. They were brought in the 20th century, planted to create the tropical paradise tourists expected. The original forest, the one that once covered the island, was different. Point. The Pascalococos, the Easter Island palm, now extinct. Its pollen remains in sediment cores, its roots fossilized in lava tubes. It was taller than the coconut palm, thicker, and it was everywhere. The Moai were transported using these trees, wooden sledges, rollers, ropes made from bark. When the forest disappeared, whether from over-harvesting, from rats eating the seeds, from climate shift, or all three, the Moai could no longer be moved. Point. This is the story the world knows. Ecological collapse, deforestation, a cautionary tale. But at Anakena, the story feels different. Because here, buried beneath the sand for centuries, archaeologists found some of the best preserved Moai on the island. The sand had protected them. When they were excavated in the 1970s, the details were still sharp. The pukau top knots were still in place. The carvings on their backs, tattoos perhaps, or clan symbols, were still visible. Point. These Moai had eyes. When a Moai was completed, a ceremony was held. The eyes were inserted. White coral for the sclera, black obsidian for the pupil. And the Moai awakened. It is said that when the eyes were placed, the Moai could see. Its mana was activated. It became a true ancestor. At Anakena you can see this. You can stand before Ahu Nau Nau and meet the gaze of the ancestors. And for a moment, The island does not feel abandoned. It feels watched over. Today, Anakina is where Rapa Nui families come to swim, to gather, to eat. The beach is not a museum. It is alive. And the Moai do not seem out of place. They belong here, watching over the landing, watching over the people. Still. Puna Pao, the quarry of crowns. There is another quarry on Rapa Nui, not for bodies, but for crowns. Puna Pao. This is where the pukao were carved. The massive top knots, some weighing 12 tons, that crowned the heads of the most important Moai. Red scoria, a volcanic rock so light it almost floats, full of air pockets, like frozen foam. The Rapa Nui carved these cylinders from the crater walls. They rolled them down the slope. Then, somehow, they transported them across the island and lifted them onto the heads of Moai that stood 4, 5, 6 meters tall. Point. How? For decades, archaeologists debated. Some said ramps, others said levers. Still others suggested the pukao were placed before the Moai were raised. Point. In 1998, an experiment was conducted. Using only ropes, wooden beams, and traditional methods, a team successfully lifted a 5-ton pukao onto a Moai replica. It took days. It required dozens of people, but it worked. The pukao was not decorative. It was essential. Some say the pukao represents hair, the top-knot hairstyle worn by Rapa Nui chiefs. Others say it symbolizes the sacred head, the seat of mana. Point. But what is certain is that the pukao marked status. Not every Moai wore one, only the most important. Only those whose mana demanded it. Point. Like Rano Raraku, Puna Pao is a place where work stopped, where the carvers set down their tools and never returned. The unfinished pukao lie where they were left. Some fully carved, some barely begun, frozen mid-creation. But they are not failures. They are evidence. Evidence of a civilization that built not for necessity, but for meaning. That carved stone not to survive, but to transcend. The red scoria catches the light differently than the grey tuff. At sunset, Puna Pau burns. And you remember, this was never about stone, it was about fire. Hangaroa, the town that survived in 1888, Rapa Nui was annexed by Chile. The population had collapsed, from perhaps 10,000 at its peak to just over 100. Disease, slave raids, ecological hardship. The survivors were confined to a single settlement, Hangaroa. For nearly a century, the Rapa Nui people were not allowed to leave this small area. The rest of the island was leased to a sheep ranching company. The Moai stood in pastures, surrounded by livestock. The sacred sites were fenced off. The Rapa Nui language was suppressed. Cultural practices were discouraged. The world looked at Easter Island and saw only mystery. But the people, the Tangata Rapa Nui, were still here. Point. They kept their stories. They taught their children. They carved small moai from wood and stone, not for tourists, but for memory. In 1966, the Rapa Nui people gained Chilean citizenship. In 2007, Rapa Nui was granted special territory status. Land was returned, cultural autonomy expanded. Today, Hangaroa is the heart of a living culture. Every February, the island hosts the Tapati Rapa Nui, a 2-week festival celebrating traditional arts. Canoe races, body painting, dancing, singing. This is not folklore. This is now. The Rapa Nui have blended traditions. Catholicism arrived with missionaries in the 19th century, but the old beliefs did not disappear. They merged, adapted. The ancestors still watch. but now they share the space with saints. Hungaroa is not a perfect place. Tourism has brought income, but also pressure. Water is scarce. About the fragility of civilizations. And those lessons are real. Forests did disappear. The Moai building became unsustainable. Conflict erupted. But to stop the story there is to miss the point. Because the Rapa Nui did not vanish. They adapted. They survived the ecological shift. They survived the toppling. They survived the arrival of Europeans with their diseases, their slave raids, their colonization. They survived the sheep ranchers who turned their island into a ranch. They survived the suppression of their culture. And they are still here, not as relics, not as museum pieces, but as a living people. They carve, they dance, they teach their language to their children. They restore their ahu, they honor their ancestors, not by living in the past, but by carrying the past into the future. Point. The Moai are not symbols of failure. They are symbols of ambition, of a people who believed they could carve gods from stone, who believed they could move mountains with rope and will and coordination, who believed that the ancestors could be made visible. And they were right. Every morning, the sun rises behind Ahu Tongariki, and for a moment the Moai are not grey stone, they are gold. They glow with the same light that has touched this island for millennia, the same light that guided Hotumatua across the ocean, the same light that illuminated the carvers at Rano Raraku, the same light that falls on Rapa Nui children today as they run across the grass, chasing each other, laughing. Rapa Nui is the most remote inhabited place on Earth, but it has never been alone. It is connected to the stars the Polynesians navigated by, to the ocean currents that brought them here, to the ancestors carved in stone, to the stories passed down through generations, to the children who will inherit this place. The Moai do not speak, but they do not need to. Their silence is not emptiness, it is patience. They have stood through storms, through toppling, through restoration, through centuries of change. And they are still here, still watching, still waiting. Rapa Nui, Tepito o Tehenua, the navel of the world. A place where stone remembers, where ocean breathes, where ancestors stand, where a people, against all odds, endure. If you ever find yourself on a small island in the Pacific, where the wind carries ancient songs, and stone faces watch the horizon, do not look for collapse, look for survival. Do not listen for endings, listen for continuation. And when you stand before a Moai, do not ask, why did they fall? Ask, why do they still stand?